Photoshop has a very useful feature, version history. And what does that mean? Within the same document, you can store multiple versions of your image. So let's just create a fresh document. So File and New. However, you need to set it up in a particular way. So click Create. Let's just create something. Just going to create a basic gradient. And at this point, you can see version history, this panel. It's got nothing in it. Nothing in it at all because I haven't saved it. It needs to be saved. But what key thing is File and go down to version history. Make certain that is checked there. If that's not checked, you will not get your version history. So that needs to be definitely on. If that's not on, it's not going to work. But also what you need to do is to go to File and Save As and save it to the Creative Cloud. It needs to be saved to the Creative Cloud. So I'm just going to call it Gradient 3 or Gradient 4. I think I've already got a Gradient 3 and I misspelt that, but let's just go with that. So save. So it's stored away and then takes a few seconds to process. Sometimes it will come up with an error. It will come up with a document error. It does do that, but generally it should eventually show that. Now sometimes it also has it marked. At the moment, if you click open there, there's no marked versions. You're probably thinking, what's a marked version? Well, marked version means it's marked so you can save it for longer than 30 days. Now, the document you're actually creating is stored obviously longer than that, but the versions are marked to be saved. If you don't mark them, after 30 days, that version will be deleted. Anything that's not marked. So that's the key thing to remember. So Adobe doesn't delete the actual copy of the file. So that's a key thing to remember as well. So here you can see now you've got this. This is the first version. So let's just name it. And you can go here, you've got 3 dots. And also I'm going to mark it. Let's mark it. I want to store it away because I might want to use it after 30 days. So click here, edit version info. Now I've noticed sometimes it does lose this information. It's not perfect. I have gone to it later and looked and it's completely blank. I do not know why, but it does seem to mysteriously vanish. But I'm just going to think sometimes it's to do with the marking. So that's a possible thing. However, let's go for, call it radial. And you can then save it. So you've got that and you can see that information now. It's there. It says first and it also says radial. And again, you expand that. You can see you've got your marked version there. Puts it in both places, which I think is slightly confusing. But still, I think it would be just nicer just to have it in one place and the mark. But that's the way they've done it. And you can see end of history. Versions expire after 30 days. Mark the ones that you want to keep. So let's just create something else, another design. So slightly more radical design. And this time I'm going to save it again. So let's just go and save it and file and save. So as soon as you've done that, you'll see it then thinks about it for a bit and it will update it. It's not instantaneous, but it does do it eventually. So, okay, you've got that. Again, I'm just going to go and just go here, click these 3 dots, edit version info, and I'm going to go with second or whatever. You could call it, of course, anything. And maybe just the word difference. And then save it. So what you've got now 2 versions. And what I can do, I can go up here, search version history. So maybe obviously 3 or 4 months later, obviously marked this, I can see I've got it marked. I can remove the mark as well. I can just say I don't care. You can delete it after 30 days. I'm not going to worry about it. But it's nice to keep. Personally, I wish it would just default always to mark everything. But still, that's not the way it does. So make certain it's definitely got that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I have noticed that it seems to ignore it sometimes. So go and search. And then you can say difference. So if you search for the word difference or whatever you've got obviously included in your description or in the name, it will come up and say, to show you that version. So it's a real great way of searching back in time. So maybe 5 or 6 weeks time, you can't remember particularly, but you remember you used difference or something on one of them, and then you can just search for it. And also, let's just remove that now. So let's just get rid of that filter. And at any point, you can always just click on this. Now you just click on it, click on that one. Now it doesn't restore it. So you'll notice on the screen, nothing's changed. So just clicking on it, you can just scroll through them to say, oh, you know what, that one looks pretty good. That's one I want to work with again. And you can just go then, again, you've got these three dots. Now click there, edit version info. Well, because it's the same version as what you've got on the screen, it doesn't come up. But if you go to this one, say click that one, click there, you've got revert to this version. And so I think, you know what, I want that one instead. So revert to this version. And then you get that. And it's updated it. And then again, you can then start and work and do some other additions, changes. And again, maybe create something more complex. And you can go for file and save. And you'll get a third version. And that's got the date and time. Now, sometimes weirdly, again, this is inconsistent. Sometimes it puts the word today against it. Sometimes it will put the date. I've found some odd variations in this. Here you can see it just puts the time for some weird reason in this version. And then you can click there, and you can see you've got that one. Now, you might want to get rid of it. You might think, oh, that's... Now, unfortunately, there's no option to get rid of, which is an odd feature that they didn't add. You can't delete them. However, what you can do, just click on that one and you can see you've got that there. And again, edit version info, and you can go and type in, you know, third one and XYZ, whatever you want to put there. And then cancel. So I don't want to save that. But you can see now with the version history, you can run through these, create multiple different versions inside the same document. And again, at any point, you can always just save it, obviously, if you've done some work, and it's stored away for future use. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. I did this mainly because I got a question about it, because it was saying, why isn't the version history appearing? Now, there may be other reasons, so please put in the comments below if you've had problems with the version history. Version history is one of those features, unfortunately, that seems to be very little information about, because when you search for it, Photoshop version history, it comes up with the versions of Photoshop and not about version history. And even Adobe's Photoshop documentation doesn't seem to actually have much about that. It mentions about history and undo panel and all that sort of stuff. And even some other pictures and things in other places that don't seem to actually match what actually works. So I don't know. It's one of those weird features that I think is a really useful feature of Photoshop version history, but for some weird reason seems to have very little. There are obviously lots of other videos about this, so worth checking out to, you know, build up a bit of knowledge. But I think this hopefully helps run through the version history. And of course, you know, please let me know. Do you like the feature? Do you find it useful? Do you think it's terrible? Maybe they should add more things. And of course, if you do think that, please don't just put things saying blah, blah, blah about it to me, because put a bug report in to Adobe, because of course, if they get bug reports about the version history, what you'd like to see, then maybe they'll update it, improve the features, make even more additions to it. Anyway, bye.